Ashley.
Yeah.
Is this live? Does this go out live?
No.
Thanks. Right, Sean, what are you saying?
Last week, guys, we talked about funny pets, and I checked with my dad. Right, they did have a kestrel, they did have ferrets, and all these other things. They didn't trap them. Like, a lot of these animals were actually injured, and they actually helped them.
Mm-hmm.
However, I left out the funniest. Maybe it's not the funniest. I think it's the funniest part of the story. They also had a magpie, and as you know, magpies steal shiny things.
Uh-huh.
And my uncle trained the magpie to come back to their house. It would go round all the streets just stealing shiny things and taking it back to their house.
How do you train a magpie?
I don't know.
Your uncle was the Fagin of magpies.
Yes.
Fucking it, Sean. It doesn't do you any favours in this image you've created of your weird dingle from Emmerdale life growing up.
Yeah.
With magpies and ferrets, and they were injured and we helped them like some sort of fucking, what's her name, Kathy Bates of animals.
Misery,
yeah.
Like your dad was the misery of ferrets.
I think he was like the Florence Nightingale of ferrets.
Rolf Harris of ferrets.
Before we start the show, let me hear the word, Sean. Have you been practicing it? Have you realised you can say it in other accents yet? Sean struggles with the word parenting.
Parenting.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to try and say it in a Cockney accent.
Okay, excellent.
Right, because they don't say G's, right? So they don't like the ing sound, so therefore I think I can say it.
Except when we're saying,
we'll try it.
What up, G's?
Parenting.
Ooh.
That's pretty good.
Parenting. There you go, see?
Try it in a Scousey voice.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know how I would do that.
Just do it off the cuff. Go 1, 2, 3, Scouse.
Parenting.
That was the same.
Brilliant, Sean.
That is
Brilliant.
Sean's shit accents for the week.
Send us in any accents you'd like to hear Sean say the word parenting in. Obviously not any that would be offensive, like French.
You could do it as Donald Trump's accent.
Try it. Go, Sean. 1, 2, 3, Trump.
Parenting. I can't do it. That's Jack Nicholson.
Parenting.
I can do Northern Irish because you don't have any vowels in it. It's just
Parton. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's good.
That was good.
Yeah,
sounds.
My mom's from Northern Ireland, so it's not offensive.
That's fine. How do I leave this?
Sorry. Hi folks, welcome to Are We Being Unreasonable, the brand new podcast where comedians and talent from the land of comedy discuss outrageous posts from internet parenting forums. My name is Sean Wilkie, I'm a writer, comedian and filmmaker, and I'll be your host. I'll just quickly introduce our guests for today's episode. We have my co-host Ashley Storrie, as well as comedians Krystal Evans and Paul McDaniel.
Right, what are we talking about this week, Sean?
Okay, so story number 1 was about people staring into my house. Not my house, this person's house. So it goes, having the front, I'm going to try and be a bit like, because you were really good at it last week, Ashley, so I'm going to try and be better.
Do it, and I imagined this woman as being quite like a Newton Mearns. Like, we've just had our house done, and everything I say comes out of my nose because I play tennis.
Those two are linked.
Having the front garden wall redone, living room at the front of the house exposed, fairly sizable driveway, but still several times a day, and worse, evening when I've got my slobs on and stuffing my face with snacks. People stop outside my house gawping and pointing at the work being done and shamelessly staring into my living room for actually what's a very uncomfortable amount of time. Am I being unreasonable? I feel like I'm in a zoo. Don't people realize that this is quite rude? Any ideas of how to respond? I usually duck and hide, but this evening tried just hard staring at one couple as they were really pointing and discussing the house / looking straight at me. Didn't seem to do anything though. Maybe walking around naked should scare them off. P.S. We don't have any curtains because it's a great window with a window seat and there was / will be a nice high wall, so this problem won't last forever, but just to say we can't draw the curtains. Sad crying face.
Good God.
What a cow.
Seriously.
She says there's no curtains, and then she says we can't draw the curtains because there are no curtains.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why you can't draw them.
Good observation, Paul.
People people say get curtains a lot, and she really does not like it.
I think that she thinks people are staring at her, and it's probably because they go, see that woman, see if you just look at her, she like dives and hides, and they think it's really funny. So now people look in to see the scary woman who hides every time you glance in her window. She's probably got like a lot of lights. She's probably once, I hate to sound like the don't wear a short skirt of peeking in windows, but I feel like she's asking for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's bragging so much. This is the most humble, braggy post ever. I made a list of everything she brags about, right? Front garden
made a
wall.
list.
I made a list.
You've done more
I made
work
a
on that.
fucking
Yeah,
list.
I made a list too. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Go for
Get
it.
your list out.
No.
Yeah, very large driveway.
Bitch.
Okay, humble brag. Great window seat with a seat. What? Great view. And number 5, lots of snacks. What the fuck? Lots of snacks.
Lots of
Fucking
snacks.
hell.
Number 5 gets me the most, so it's just bragging about her snacks.
Is she a
Fucking snacks.
celebrity?
She must be. She's
Does
like
she
that.
think she's a celebrity?
I love that someone says later on, are the people outside your house holding a phone? Perhaps there's a Pokemon gym outside your house.
But like, I think she's one of these people who has like day wear. Even when she's in her house, she'll wear like a suit because it's daytime. But then at night time, when she watches Strictly Come Dancing and has a glass of Prosecco, she'll put on her jogging pants, and those are her slobs. Whereas every other human being is just like in the house, get on the joggies.
Some people say their sweats on. They get their sweats on. You know, like they're just their pajamas, isn't it?
I call it my happy pants.
Oh, right. Okay. I see my pants.
Because
are
they're
always happy.
crunchy.
Because I'm happy when I'm wearing them.
Right.
Because he's wanking in them. He's
That's why. I got the
He's not
crunchy
always
joke.
happy though. He's not always happy.
Have you
wanking.
ever seen that? Have you seen the guys on? Okay, that's a bit of a side tour, but have you seen the guys online who like wank in the one pair of trousers and never clean them, and then like keep them until they go rigid, and then they post pictures of them online?
Is that
Jesus
a thing?
Christ.
No, Ashley, I've not seen that.
No, I've never stumbled across that page.
No.
I think I would have to go looking for that. You know, it's like I didn't know. What's this called? This thing?
Oh no, it's definitely called a thing, but I remember stumbling across it, and it's just like they just wank in the one pair of trousers, but they're really clatty and they're like rigid at the front from all the semen crusting up.
Right.
Oh.
Is it like a competition with each other to see who can have the most?
Maybe just a competition with themselves.
Right. How do these people find each other? Like, how do you slip that into a conversation? Like, say, oh, do you
I don't know. I found them, so
I suppose they're
I'm
out
assuming
there,
it's relatively easy to find.
Yeah.
The window lady, I think that she's just wanting to brag about her fucking driveway, Sean.
Exactly.
I think that Krystal is
It's a
right. I
humble
think
brag.
that she just wanted to show off. Nobody's looking in at her. She's just want to be on mum's net, being like, we've got a long driveway. We're getting a large wall put up.
I look in people's windows all the time, right?
Of course you do.
I don't do it to look at them. I'm nosy. I like looking at what the house looks like what kind of furniture they have, what are they watching on telly. And like literally in our old flat, I used to walk, there was the same way to the shop. And every time I would walk that shop, I'd stare in the houses. And then one guy, I'm pretty sure this guy built a fence to stop me looking in because he had like a wee wall and he built like this tiny fence just along the top of the wall to stop people looking in his house.
It was exactly your height.
It was pretty much mine.
It was an exact shape of your head and
Of
body.
your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sean, that's really bad.
Why,
That's a worry.
I'm just nosy.
What she doesn't understand is that, like, people love to perv at nice houses. I love it. When I see a house, I'm like, oh, that's nice. I'll just stop and like look at the garden, what kind of car they have. I'm just like, oh, I'm just like looking all over at everything.
I like to build people's houses in The Sims, so I'll like take pictures and that.
Right.
Of people's houses.
Yeah, if we've got like a fun front.
How's that not worse than me? I just like to look in their window and you take pictures of the actual house
It's
to
from
recreate.
a fucking distance. I'm not like right up at their window to the point where they have to build a special fence to stop the creepy guy in leather staring in through the window while he's got his co-op bag swinging at his side.
The last time I was Zooming with Ashley, I stroked my cat, and Ashley thought I was stroking her bum a bit too closely.
He does. He touches the cat's arsehole.
No, the thumb sort of grazes slightly, but it's just affection. It's nothing dodgy.
But you do take videos of yourself doing it and put it online.
I do, yeah. Well, times are tough, I've got like an
Yeah.
OnlyFans page,
Have you?
No.
We've got to do what we got to do.
But maybe I should, yeah. The thing about where she says they were looking in the house and really pointing and discussing the house and looking straight at me. I like the way she says they were really pointing. Like it's like you're either pointing or you're not. There's not levels of pointing.
They were extremely pointing.
Yeah.
She's done something. We all have to agree that she locally has done something atrocious, and people walk past and go, that's the woman that put the cat in the bin. Or that's the woman who had sex with the teenage boy who was her pool cleaner. Or that's the woman. She's done something. That people don't just point in houses unless there is something freakish either happening in the house, they've got a window display, or the person in the house has done something weird. So she's done something weird, or she's got one of those like creepy doll displays. And then she's like, oh, why are they looking at me? And
like
then
Annabelle,
she's got, but she's got 17 Victorian dolls all staring out the window using the window seat.
Or maybe like they all know that her husband is on that website with the crusty pants, and they're like, that poor fucking woman.
So we know Sean likes to peer in people's windows to the point where they have to build a fucking fence.
Right.
Do you, Paul, Krystal, do you peek in people's windows? Are you a peeping Tom, Paul?
I look at people's phones when they're like standing next to me, or if they're in front of me at the cinema or something like that. You have to or on the bus, I look at people's phones and you have to be a bit nosy. You sort of catch yourself like, oh shit.
When people peek at my phone, I will deliberately, if I see somebody looking at my phone, I will like slam up either like a hideous like vag pic or something hideous and disgusting to shock them. Because I know they're peeking at my phone.
That's why I do it. That's why I look at people's phones.
They're looking because they want to see a hideous batch pic.
But one of those ones that you got sent like years ago, like the blue waffle pic and stuff, like the really bad, gross ones.
Oh, right. I haven't seen that.
I don't know what that is, and I don't want to know.
I think we run in really weird, different circles, but Krystal, have you ever peeked in people's windows, or are you a voyeur?
This actually reminded me of like when I was a little kid and I would be, in the back seat of the car speeding down the motorway, obviously with one of my parents driving, and I would like full on stare at other people in other cars. I'm sure you guys did that too, but I would just like shamelessly, because you're going so fast, you would always feel like you would get away with it and just like completely stare at what they're doing. And they would always turn to look at me. And then I would like, if we were going really fast, sometimes I would give them the finger. I'd just be like, I can totally get away with this. But like one time we were speeding and then like I gave the finger to somebody. It was just this guy, but then we both pulled off at the same exit. And this guy told my mom to roll down the window, and he fucking told her that I did that. And I was like, no, I didn't. And I totally denied it. And he was like, she did. I totally fucking denied it.
Did your mum believe you?
Yeah, she believed me, yeah.
Yes! Gaslight that grass bag. That's great. I love that.
Like, this sounds like a sort of a Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm scenario, with Larry David being the guy who's,
Yes. He did look a bit like Larry David now that I think about it. Yeah.
Larry David's my favourite person to have sex with in dreams.
All right. I thought you were going to...
In dreams.
Just in dreams, right.
The top 3 dirty dreams I've ever had have included him. The number 1 dirty dream I ever had, I was on a cruise ship and he was wearing blue pants and he kept popping one of his balls out the side and going, ha, and it was the funniest thing that ever happened in my life. And I remember in this dream just pissing myself laughing and being like, my husband's hilarious.
Oh.
And he just kept
He was your husband.
He was your husband? Oh, shit.
That's so lovely.
He was my husband. We were on a cruise and he just kept popping one of his testicles out the side of his swimming trunks and pointing at it and laughing. And I just thought, oh, that's so romantic and funny.
Was it a golf ball? Because he usually has, he's a big fan of golf. Maybe it was
No, it was a testicle.
It's definitely a testicle.
Yep, full on ball. But great
Ashley
laugh.
Knows.
Really sexy
lovely.
guy. I appreciate him.
Do we think she's being unreasonable then?
Yes, 100. But she's clearly been unreasonable. She's making shit up for attention on the internet. 99% of these things you read to me, I'm convinced it's just like fan fiction that lonely women have written about their own lives. It's
Oh, so true.
bullshit.
Yeah, I think so.
Krystal, is she being unreasonable?
Yeah, unreasonable, privileged, wanker, absolutely.
Paul, final word on the lady in the zoo. Is she being unreasonable? He might defend her. What's going to happen?
I think there are different levels of unreasonable. I think she's being slightly unreasonable, but I empathize with her. But she is showing off how much she owns. But I want her to know that it's okay. Just I'm here for you. Just relax. It's okay. Just go with it, girl. Just fucking. I don't know what I'm saying. Someone
Give Paul a call.
No. It's No, she's being unreasonable. I'll just leave me alone. I don't know.
Whole spiel sounded like the beginning of that Boys to Men song where it's like, throw your clothes on the floor.
Yeah.
Paul, that was very sexy. I hope that the lady who
Is
clearly
listening.
murdered her husband and everybody stares at her picks you as our next victim.
I'll be next. Yeah.
So, Story 2 was today I pissed on the back seat of the car. I've read a few threads that say, why do people keep asking where you're going to go to the toilet? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because it's a very, very important issue with the current lockdown rules. I've not name changed, so I can't be accused of being a piss troll. I set off today to see my mum, a 1 hour drive. I've done it once before, and the last time I went with the strategy of being dehydrated. It worked, but caused a huge headache. However, this time we wanted to meet for longer than just a quick walk. A picnic was planned. With my birth injuries plus my Diet Coke addiction, I formulated a plan. 3 nappies double-bagged to make a travel potty. I felt confident, liberated even. I drank my Coke with zero trepidation. On my return journey, I pulled into a secluded lay-by and retired to the back seat to make use of the travel potty. As I finished, on looking down, I was just in time to see the huge puddle soak down into the seat. I fear that a bit of a rub with a wet wipe may not have done the trick. Tomorrow, I need to come up with an excuse to go out to the car so that I can sprinkle bicarb and drive around with all windows open before my husband finds out and files this under unreasonable behaviour in the divorce proceedings. Was I being unreasonable to piss in the car? Has anyone else resorted to such barbaric ways during these unprecedented times?
There's so much to say about this. This must be the dumbest human being that's ever existed.
I agree. Because you can pee. There's places to pee other than 3 nappies in a plastic bag in the car.
I can't think of a worse place to pee than where she peed. She could have pissed on the hood of her car. It would have been better. I don't even understand what she means. Like, she brought a bag of nappies, like into a bag. I don't understand.
I think she layered the bottom of the bag with open like diapers to soak up the liquid when it hit the bottom of the bag. I don't know. I've been trying to like work out what our fucking MacGyver toilet situation was, but mainly it just seems stupid. Like, Paul and Sean, you can pee standing up. Sean chooses not to because he's a pussy, but you can pee you can't pee standing up. So you don't have this, you could just get out your car and piss in a lay-by if you wanted to, even though it's illegal, and do your own thing. But it is unprecedented times. People need to pee. But she had a million different options before she decided to make her weird toilet. Paul, do you understand, like, what was your takeaway from her build-it-yourself toilet?
I thought she put on the 3 nappies and just walked about with them, like, and thought no one, and hoped no one would notice.
Like, she taped them together to make a big nappy?
Yeah. I don't know if she put them on over her like trousers or just underneath, and like I don't know. I assumed I didn't know that she'd made a bag with loads of nappies in it. I thought it was just like she'd stuck them all to sellotape all over her or something. I don't know.
Sean, who is right? Is it did she wear the 3 nappies, or did she make a bowl out of the 3 nappies? I thought she'd made some sort of like a pee bowl.
I think she made like a pee bowl with like a bag, and then like the nappies spread it around the inside, I think.
What kind of bag is it? Like a bin bag?
Bag for life. I don't know.
Yeah.
I bet you it had
Need some-
holes in it so that children can't suffocate, and that's where it all went wrong. I did ask, because when I was a kid, right, I didn't know that boats had toilets. So every time I went on a boat, I'd just piss myself because I thought that was my only option. And that was until I was 12
Oh.
that I learned that toilets went on boats. I don't know why. I just didn't think that a toilet could be on a boat. Like even a ferry, I'd just be like, nah, that doesn't make
Wait a
sense.
second.
How-
Now I've got loads of questions for you. Why were you on it? When were you on a boat and who were you with?
Like my dad, when we went to Paris, he took me on a boat down the river there, and I didn't want to ask anybody for a toilet because I knew that they would say, "Oh, we don't have toilets." So
Oh,
I just
Nailed
peed
the accent.
myself. On the way to Rothsay, I just didn't think that Kilmac ferries would have a toilet on a boat because that seemed too luxurious. So I didn't want to ask and shame them for not having facilities. So I would just pee myself. And then
Aw.
I learned that toilets on boats were like a normal thing when I went on a cruise that was longer
So did you
than a
just
day.
think that all people peed themselves on
Yeah.
boats?
I just thought that. I don't know why. I just
This
thought
is
that
the
was what you did.
system. Well, even that would be better than what this woman did.
Piss yourself, but stand near one of the little bits where the rain drains out. It just piss
Yeah,
yourself
there you
there.
go.
It'll run out. You'll dry in the sun. It's fine, man. Just pee yourself on a boat. But I don't know, mate. I asked people about places that they couldn't hold it in, where they might have peed themselves, and people have been very open about their inability to hold their bladder. Ross has got in touch and said there's a hire car in Florida still with traces of my little brother's DNA after he managed to fill a full bottle and then just went full on out of control hosepipe all over the car everywhere in Busch Gardens car park.
Nice. This isn't Ross Leslie. This is
I was
not
going to
Ross.
say.
This is not, I don't know if I should say people's full names because I don't know if they're like consenting. Fuck it, it's Ross Adams. And the boy who peed himself was Ewan Adams.
Great.
Aw.
I had him in the story.
He-
Vince said, I once, as a child of about 11 years old, wet myself outside of a shop as it was raining. I thought it would just wash away in the rain. The rain stopped soon afterwards, so I had clearly peed myself. Just after baby number 1, says Denise, and very pregnant with baby number 2. I just couldn't hold it in after a train journey and had to stop in the middle of the stair bridge in the snow and relieve myself. Can I just say it was the best pee I've ever had?
Oh, yeah.
I
That
bet it was.
sounds so good.
Something really satisfying when you've been waiting ages to go to the toilet on a journey or whatever like that.
Definitely.
And when I was a kid, I used to, if I needed to go to the toilet, I would imagine going to the toilet and I'd go, oh no, don't think that, because that would make you want to go to the toilet more. Right. Anyway, don't
Yeah.
want to take over here.
It's a
I'll do one more, and this
Right.
relates back to our story.
Great. Yeah. You can keep
yep.
going.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Let us sit in Paul's awkwardness for one more second, though.
No, don't. No, please. No.
Lucy says, my 16-year-old has just used a McDonald's cup to wee in the back of my car. Unfortunately, her aim was shite and my car now stinks of piss as she projectile urinated fucking everywhere. Only bad thing about going out during lockdown, no public toilets are open. Fortunately, we have blackened windows in the back, so nobody saw the incident. So there we go. So yes, I've got loads of stories about people peeing, but I don't want to overtake it with Story Corner. Thank you to everybody who got in touch with their stories of times where they couldn't hold in their piss. I'm very grateful. Have you got anything you'd like to add to Story Corner, Paul and Krystal? Any stories when you couldn't hold in your pee and just had to go?
Well, when I was a kid, I did piss myself in a bookshop.
With excitement?
Yeah, books. I think I hid behind some Doctor Who books because I was checking out Doctor Who books and I couldn't wait for my mum to come back. I was maybe 8 years old, so I just
Aw.
went and I'm not sure how my mum didn't notice that I had pissed myself because maybe I was wearing dark colors or something. She couldn't see. But the woman behind the counter, she definitely knew because she gave me a real dirty look when I left. Like,
Oh,
she
what a
looked at-
bitch.
Yeah.
What the
She could hear the stuff happening, and she sort of looked at me like, "Oh, you fucking guy, this fucking guy," you know. So yeah, that was that. I think that's the only time I've really done that. So
Yeah.
She could hear. Did you like? You didn't just like pee in your pants. Did you literally like take it out and just start peeing in the middle of the floor?
Oh yeah.
No, I think it. No, I didn't do that.
Right, okay.
But I think it was a carpet, so she would have heard it landing. You know.
Landing.
One
Landing.
Rosie got in touch and said, I once painted her toilet floor in Govan Hill flat, but I painted myself out of the toilet. I was desperate and started thinking about where I might use, and then I saw it, the cat's litter tray. I shall never forget the way Scribbles looked at me that day. But Krystal, have you ever peed yourself in public? Have you ever pooped yourself in public? Double down. Oh, she's nodding. She shot herself.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, there's loads of stories about this really, but I'll pick this one. When I was a kid, I must have been like 3 or something. And I was in I was in a shop with my mom, and it was like a bathroom shop, like where they sell fittings. You know where this is going, right? I had to pee. I jumped on one of the display toilets, and I had to have a shit, and I shit and peed in this toilet, the display toilet. And they caught, and yeah, like the person in the shop was like, oh, and like my mom came over and got me up, and we just apologized and left. I mean, I don't, you had to be there, but it was really funny at the time. It was like,
did your mom have to pay for it, or was it just like, oh, thank you for your service, goodbye?
She just said I'm really sorry, and just picked me up and left. And obviously, there was no like loo roll or anything, so I was like all disgusting, and she had to just like take me home and clean me up.
I'm sure that must have happened before in that place, and those places it must happen loads.
It must happen a lot.
They probably keep their eye on every little kid that comes in there.
Yeah.
Hey, you. But I'm sure I think it's like, it must be everybody's fantasy to want to do that. I've heard people say they've always wanted to do that, and then I always tell them that I did it at a very young age.
You got there first. You were a pioneer.
Yeah.
Sean, have you ever pissed yourself in public?
I can't think of any one specific time.
Such
That means I've done it a lot, but I did. We were on holiday, and my son was about 3. We were on the beach, and he was like, "Oh, I need to go to the toilet. I need to go to the toilet." And we were like, just go in the ocean. So like 2 minutes later, we heard these. I think they were French, actually, women next to us, like saying something in French, but it was clear they were disgusted. They were like literally appalled at what was going on. And we looked up, and he didn't go. He was basically peeing into the ocean, not in the ocean. So he was just standing there, trunks around his ankles, just peeing right into the water. And they were just absolutely affronted.
That's fine. I thought you were going to say he was like, he's like squatting and taking a shit at the shoreline.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
I think there is.
I don't see the it's just a wee kid. I don't see the problem with it, but they thought it was disgusting. I think so. I mean, they're French. They could just have been talking about something else.
It seems to be a common thing that when men get drunk, they like to piss in wardrobes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's
what?
Yeah. It's so weird. I was having a one night stand with a man and he like got up and started trying to go into his cupboard to pee, and it was too much shit and shenanigans for me, and I was just like, that's your cupboard, mate. And he was like, whoa, and I just left, and that was I never spoke to him again, just mainly because he was going to try and piss in his cupboard, and that annoyed me. But it's a thing they do, pissing in their cupboards. Sean, have you ever pissed in your cupboard?
I have never pissed in my cupboard.
Oh, well done.
I know.
Really good.
Quite proud of myself for that.
Paul, you
Great
said
job.
that like you wanted to introduce the fact that you'd pissed in a cupboard.
No, I've known people who have done it, but I've never done it. The worst thing I did when I was drunk was I ran a bath in someone else's house. I locked the doors and ran a bath when I was drunk, and someone knocked on the door and was like trying to kick the door open because they were like, "What's he doing?" He was like, "I was running a huge bubble bath."
But you're going to get in it.
I'm not sure. I don't think I ever actually managed to finish running the bath, but I was shouting back at them like, I know what I'm doing. I've got this. Just fucking, leave me alone.
Wait till you smell me after I get out of here.
Oh, I really like that. I like that you're overly familiar when you're drunk in somebody else's house. It's like, I'm going to take a bath.
That's the most wholesome drunk behavior.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
What we don't know is that he was going to try and drown their pets.
That as well, yeah.
Or
Well,
just
at
a
least,
bubble
at least it's original to get cancelled for that, like drowning someone's,
Was the woman who made her potty in the back of her car out of 3 diapers and a plastic bag, was she being
Yes.
unreasonable? I
You know
don't
what?
think unreasonable comes into it. I think just stupid comes into it. So I'm going to say she was reasonable within the context of her own creativity.
Okay.
No, I disagree. I think she's fucking nuts. I
Yeah.
mean,
Is she being unreasonable? I'm going to say
Yes.
no. Krystal says yes.
Mhm.
Paul McDaniel says yes. Sean, was she being unreasonable?
Yes, because why is she driving for an hour to see a mum who's probably, I assume, shielding during the lockdown in the first place? Going for a picnic? Is she going for a picnic?
That bit, I'm going to disagree with you and say that you don't know if she's been lonely or missing her mother, or if her mum's been lonely or whatnot. And
I've been missing my mum, but I haven't driven an hour or 4 hours. She lives 4
yeah,
hours.
but is she not in England? Is it not like you're allowed to go and see your parents now or something? I think that if it's legal and you want to go and see your mum, go see your mum. But if you're going to have like a piss-ish, then don't have a picnic and don't
Yeah.
drink Diet Coke because you've built yourself a toilet that you think's going to work.
Yeah. So do you think she's been unreasonable?
I don't know, man. I just don't want to be the one that's always like calling people mean names and being horrible.
Okay, you can say that she has been reasonable, and we'll all just disagree with you.
Okay, cool. Give your podcast a punt just now. What's it called? Where can people listen to it?
It's called Creamed Corn at the Lunchbox, and it is we like go through every episode of the sitcom Roseanne, and we every once in a while talk about how racist she was, but we don't really talk about her that much. We just go through every episode and talk about the episode, all the minutia, and we go on lots and lots of rants. Some that get cut out, most that don't. But so yeah, it's like, what did you say? Like 60% about Roseanne and 40% us rambling.
So, Creamed Corn at the Lunchbox.
Yep.
Available on
That's the one.
Spotify and iTunes. Go give it a listen.
Number one acronym was BFP.
Big fat penis.
Mm.
No.
I was going to say, isn't BFF best friend forever?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
I thought this was like BFP, best friend potentially. Like,
Oh,
You know,
that's nice.
like if you meet someone new on Mumsnet and you're like, I really like you.
Is it right, Sean? Sean,
No.
that feels right. Is it boyfriend potential?
No.
That's a good one. Best friend? No, I don't know.
And none of those words are in it.
pancreas.
No.
Okay, none of those words. Okay, Krystal, come on, you can save
Is
it.
it like when they're really stressed out and they're like BFP, beer for parents? Is that
That's
it?
good. That's good.
Is it Sean?
No, that would be good, but no, it's not it.
Have we hit any of the words?
No. I'll give you a clue. The second word is a swear word.
Big fucking penis.
Bad fucking practice.
You got the first two words, but not penis.
Oh, I think I know what it is. I just remembered back when I was pregnant. I think I know. Are we really trying to get it
Go,
right?
yes.
It's,
uh-huh.
I
Is
think
it-
it is to
is
do
it-
with. Yeah, you go.
It's big fat positive, isn't
Big
it?
fucking
Which is
positive,
a positive
yes.
pregnancy test, right?
Yes.
Yes. But fat's not a swear word. I
Well, it's
guess
fucking
it is,
big
kinda.
fucking positive. So they went.
Oh,
they went
big,
big.
fucking positive.
Yeah.
One or t'other is
Oh,
fine.
right.
You did it. Move on. Yes.
Yes. I have
Nope.
kids, so I'm gonna be a little bit. This is unfair, but yeah.
Number two was EBF.
Everybody's big fanny. Paul, what do you think it is?
Excellent big fuck. I don't know. Excellent big fuck.
Ooh,
It
he
is
was an
like-
EBF. He was an
Excellent.
excellent big
Yeah,
fuck.
excellent
An
big
excellent
fuck.
big
Yeah,
fuck.
Right, Krystal, go. You know what it is. Hit us with it.
It's exclusively breastfed, isn't it?
Yes.
Ah,
You're so good at this.
right, I see.
She's got babies. She's got a babies.
That's cheating. That's cheating.
Fucking cheating. I don't know the last one. I really don't. I did not look it up either.
I've got two babies, but I didn't actually give birth to them, so I don't know the answers to any of these. SIOB is number three.
shit in our basket.
Oh my God, that's almost what I wrote too.
What did you say?
I wrote shit in our bath, which is what every kid does.
Ah,
Paul, what
shit
do
in
you
the
think it is?
I thought it was like such idiots. Oh boy. like, you know, like a comment when someone's describing something someone did, we're like, oh, you know.
No, I wish that was it. I really wish that
I
was
think
it.
it should become it.
That's a bit like Shakespeare, you know?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Such idiots, semicolon. Oh boy.
New sentence.
Love that. Such idiots, oh boy.
Beautiful.
Swim in our balls.
Swim in our balls.
Balls. No, it's definitely not that. I don't know if he's ever going to get this one.
Of birth.
Is it birth?
No,
Yeah.
No, but it kind of sounds like birth.
Birth? Is it about boats?
No, but it's like
Shit in
it's
our
an anagram of birth, maybe.
Breath?
I think it's spelled birth. Yes, breath. Yes.
Okay, sucking of breath.
Sucking our breath.
Suck of breath. Something.
It's very similar to what you just said.
SI of breath. So.
You're just going to do
no
that.
idea what this could
It's
be.
very similar to what you said.
I said sucking of breath.
So it's very similar.
What could be similar to sucking of breath that SIOB is?
Slow in of breath.
Slow intake of breath. Sudden intake of breath.
Intake's right.
Sharp intake of breath.
Yay.
Oh my god!
Is that an acronym?
Because Mumsnet all read erotica, and she had a sharp intake of breath is a big fucking trope in erotic fiction.
Is it?
Yes.
Right.
Every time a guy comes out with a huge dick, she has a sharp intake of breath. I've written that like 15 times in a Harry Potter situation.
Really? Right.
You'd think she'd not be surprised after like the 50th time.
Yeah, it's always a shock when you see that Draco Malfoy's got a huge dick. Fucking yes. Well done, everybody. That was a team effort. We all worked together. Yes.
It
was really fun.
What do you want people to send you anything for next week, Ashley? Or you had enough of that now?
If you'd like to send me pictures of your crusty pants, you can send them to @AshleyStorrie. You can get in touch with me on Twitter with your stories of places you didn't know toilets existed.
Okay. What are you letting yourself in for?
I don't know. Nobody gets fucking. I asked for badger porn and not a single person sent me any.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks very much for coming on.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, be sure to hit subscribe, and you can also find us on Facebook or Twitter @AWBU Podcast, where you can let us know if you think we were being unreasonable. You can also find myself and Ashley on Twitter @SitDownDad and @AshleyStorrie. Thanks again. I'll see you next week for the final episode of Series 1, where we have comedian Stephen Buchanan and actress Erin McCarthy.